Hello everyone, and today we're going to try a small experiment. We're going to install our oil separator, and it's a pretty easy swap. All we have to do is remove our crankcase vent tube that's right under the engine cover right here, and then just plug this one in. And then after driving around for a set amount of time, we're going to take an oil sample and see what's in it. So right here we have our crankcase vent tube. Let me get a better angle. And we have our quick disconnect connector right there on this side. And then let me move towards the center of the engine. And there should be the other end of that tube right, yep. There it is right there. And I do want to apologize about the bad camera angle and lighting in advance because I'm going to be doing this with the engine cover still installed just because of convenience. But this is an easy swap for this experiment, so let's get to it. So right there we're going to start with this quick disconnect, and it's pretty simple. All we got to do is push it in and turn it and then lift up. And it should detach. There we go. And that came out pretty easy. And let's see if I can lift this side out. Very nice. Then we'll go to the other side and do the exact same thing. And this one's a little harder to get to, but same thing. Just pull that tab, lift up. And there we go. And I'll back the camera out. And all we got to do is take this tube right out. There we go. Pretty easy. Took only 2 minutes. And here's our new oil separator. Now I'm going to remove the canister just to make it easier to fit it in there. And we'll put the tube in the exact same way as the old one came off. And I'll just finagle it just a little bit. Alright, so it looks like it's in place. And we'll reinstall our canister. And I want to go very slowly when installing this. I don't want to cross-thread it because these have very fine threads. And then we'll snug it up. And now we can connect our oil separator to our PCV valves. And these snap right in. So all we got to do is line it up. And then push downward. So I got it on there slightly. I'm going to push down a little bit more. There we go. And that snapped right in. So as you can see, it looks pretty good. And now let's work our way to the other side. And again, I do want to apologize about the bad camera quality and lighting, so just bear with me. And almost got it right on the stem. Let's see if we can push down. There we go, snapped right in. So this came out to be a very easy install. It looks like the oil separator is not going anywhere. It's just hanging, but it's pretty sturdy. So I'm pretty happy how this is going to work. And I'm only going to do the passenger side because this is just an experiment. I just want to see what's in this oil catch can or this oil separator. And to start this experiment off, let's log how much mileage is on this engine before we get started. So we did do an oil change before installing this oil separator, and it looks like our odometer is a little over the 8,000 mark, so that's going to be our reference point.
2,000 years later.
And after a few months, it looks like we hit our 1,000 mile marker, so we're at 9,397 miles, which is pretty good. Now this is recommended by the manufacturer. They say after 1,000 miles, check your canister just to see where it's at. So we'll go ahead and take this one off. I'm going to try to be very gentle with it. And by the way, this thing is cold, so I'm not doing while it's hot. I'll try to get this out without spilling it. So bear with me. And looking at this right here, bring the camera down. So we got a little bit of oil in there, not too much. But it doesn't look like there's enough for a sample right now. But looks like we're getting there. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this canister. And again, very slowly get the threads on and then snug it up. And yep, that feels pretty snug. So after another 1,000 miles, which we're at the 2,000 mile mark, let's take a look at it again. And it looks like it's filling up a little bit more, but we're not quite there yet. So same thing, I'm going to try to put this back on very gently without spilling anything. And then reinstall it. And then at the 4,000 mile mark, so we're at 12,000 miles total. Again, take this canister off. Look at that. So it looks like we have a nice hefty amount in there, quite a bit. It's not full, but it might be enough for the sample. I think we can go ahead and send this out. And spoiler alert, there was enough oil in the sample for the lab to do all its tests. And we'll set that down without spilling anything. And then Blackstone Labs does provide a very nice sample package, and they send everything you need just to send it back to them. So I'm going to very gently do all this without spilling everything. So here's our little sample container. And I'm going to very gently pour it all in there and try not to spill anything, as well as introduce any contaminants. And that looks about right. This looks like all we're going to get out of that one. And of course, we'll seal it up to make sure it's good and tight. And then we'll seal up in their container and we'll send it out via snail mail. Now, also what I'll do is I'll clean our canister. I want to make sure we get all the residue and oil off the outside as well as the inside of this. We want to clean all the contaminants out and make sure this is spotless. Once that is all done, take a good look at it. Looks pretty clean, relatively. And then we'll reinstall it. And then we'll go ahead and wait and see what our results look like.
One eternity later.
And after waiting patiently for about 3 weeks, our results came in, and they were nice enough to send it via email, and this is what it looks like. It's a very beautiful oil report. Now, kind of as stated earlier, the bad news is I didn't send enough oil in there for them to do all their tests. However, it looks like they're able to provide some pretty good information. It looks like it just appears to be normal oil without a lot of contaminations at all, which is great. Now, I am going to show you the full results at the end because we're going to do this experiment all over again, but I want to make sure I send them a significant amount of oil this time. And that minimum amount is going to be approximately 2.5 ounces, which is a majority of that sample container they send you. So just as an FYI.
298 frozen patties later.
And after finally a significant amount of time has passed, we put an additional 10,000 miles on our Mustang from our last sample. And you can tell time has passed because you looked at my engine cover and everything else under my hood. It looks quite a bit different. It's the same engine, same driving style, but obviously you're going to see a little bit more change. But I'm going to do the same process as far as taking that canister off. Look how much is in there. So we filled it almost all the way to the threads. We don't want to go much further than that, but that's pretty much what we're going to work with. And same thing as before, we'll take that same container, but this time I did mark a line where about 2.5 ounces is. And same thing, I'm going to try to pour it all in there. And it's not quite there, but it might be enough to get lucky. So we're going to try to work with that. And yep, looking at that. Yep, still looks like it's still a normal container. I'm trying to be very gentle not to spill anything. The last thing I want to do is spill everything after we did all that testing. And then we'll wrap it up, package it in their little plastic bag, and then put it in their container and make sure everything's nice and snug. And after a few weeks have passed, same thing, we got our results via email. Now I do want to provide some clarification before we get into this. The first thing is, I know what an oil separator is for, and I would explain it. However, there's tons of videos out there who can do it better than me in 1,000 different ways with visual aids. So I want to spare you that. The other thing is, I have read some forums where they said the oil separator can also separate out contaminants from your engine. So I was like, well, for the sake of argument, the best way to find out is to test it. So here's the results. So first thing we'll do is rate off the comment area. They did have enough to complete all their tests in the sample, which is good. Looking at the flash point, it looks like it shows no measurable fuel in the oil, which is good. And it also looks like we have low silicon, which means there's very little to no dirt or coolant in there. And it also looks like our insolubles are low. Our viscosity is 5W20, which is to spec. And it looks like our metals are not far off from the previous levels. And our TBN, which stands for total base number, shows plenty of additives still left in the oil. Overall, it's a great sample. We aren't spotting any problems. So that's already a great start just off the comments. Now, if we want, we can always get into the actual numbers itself. So let's get into it. And let me zoom in some of our numbers. Now, Blackstone Labs also has a little explanation sheet of how the report works. And the first thing we're going to look at is our metals. So if you see aluminum, iron, copper, tin, nickel, and so on, these are usually wear metals in your engine. So if you have a heavy metal contaminant in your oil sample, that's a bad sign. It means there's wear and tear on your engine. So it could be your pistons going bad, bearings. It's hard to say which, but it means there's an issue. So low metals, good sign. Next, let's focus on our contaminants. So if you see anything high in the potassium, sodium, or silicon area, that's a bad sign. That usually means there's either dirt or even worse, antifreeze in your system. That usually means there's a seal leak somewhere, which is, again, very bad. But by looking at our sample, it looks like our oil's so far in good shape, so there's no issues there. So overall, not too bad. Let's keep moving. Next, let's take a look at our additives. So this is going to be like your phosphorus, your zinc, your magnesium, your calcium. This is basically your detergents and anti-wear additives. These are usually good things. And you want to have these in your system, but not too much. So by looking at the numbers, it looks like we're running about average. This is pretty much what we expect to see. There's nothing really out of the ordinary here. It's not too high, and it's definitely not too low. So overall, not too shabby. Let's keep going. And now we can approach our last section. This is basically your physical properties of your sample. So this is going to be your flash point, the percentage of antifreeze, fuel, water, insolubles, and so on. And looking at these numbers, you can obviously see like the viscosity looks like it's within spec. It's actually really where it needs to be. Flash point, it's right now greater than 400. That's awesome. The percentage of fuel, very, very low, which is great. So in this sample overall, it looks to be almost like a perfect oil sample, which is great. I don't see really any contaminants, nothing that's really jumping out at me. I know this is not what you expected to see, but pretty much the oil separator does what it's supposed to do. It separates the oil out. And I know some of you were expecting something dramatic or something really special out of this video. But I'm sorry to say not everything's going to be dramatic at the very end. But I did want to show this piece of information just because I thought it was interesting, as well as it's just nice to share. Well, if you want to support the channel, please like, subscribe.